So, Jeff, I know you just wrapped up your Big Shot book tour, and we were able to get some images from the tour. I don't know if you want to give everyone a bit of a background on it, and I can scroll through some of them real quick.
Yeah, it was a really cool tour. We were here in the United States. We went from Massachusetts all the way down to South Carolina and back. And this is actually the fourth tour we've done during the pandemic. So, what we tried to do is keep everybody safe. I wanted to see people in person. So, that was really, really important to me to see everybody in person. So, I got to hand books to kids with a big, giant lacrosse stick, right? So that we could keep our distance. We had to wear masks and all that, of course. But it's really cool to see the readers in person. You see a picture here from when I was in North Carolina, and another picture when we were in probably South Carolina, where kids were taking shots of a big basketball out of their car windows and their sunroofs and things like that. So we're trying to make it fun. Everybody's tired of the pandemic, but we're trying to make it fun for everyone.
Yeah, and I actually saw a part of your tour. You stopped in my hometown of Montclair, New Jersey, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that was our very last event. That was a really fun day. We had some members from the New Jersey Nets hype team there. So
Oh,
pretty
super
cool.
cool. And I also noticed on this tour you brought the cheese with you, and I was just very curious, how did you safely transport the cheese to prevent any incidents of cheese touch?
Well, we had a team of people in hazmat suits,
Okay.
because you really don't want to get the cheese touch.
I was very
So
concerned when I saw this photo actually. So,
that piece of cheese looks like it's about 40 feet wide. It was actually probably about 6 feet wide, so it was pretty big. I'm actually in my studio right now, and I'm going to show you that. You can
awesome.
see we have a giant cheese wall with a
Oh,
bunch of
super cool.
TVs behind it. So cheese is a big part of the Wimpy Kid story, of course.
All right. Well, speaking of the Wimpy Kid story, I think we can get started with the read aloud segment. So, the way this will work is I will be your page turner as we read together. I won't go super fast in case you ever want to comment on anything happening on the pages. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to turn my camera off. This way we can all focus on you and the book. And story friends, those of you who are joining on a phone or tablet, you'll be getting a message to hold your device horizontally. And anyone on a laptop, you don't have to do a thing. All right. I
Okay.
think we're ready to begin.
All right, let's go. Let's turn that page. It's it's not. I'm not seeing it turn. There we go. Big Shot. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Big Shot by Jeff Kinney. Let's turn again to Will and Grant. Those are my sons who played basketball, who inspired me to write this book. Okay, you can turn it. Let's start from page 1. I think I'm going to actually read a physical book at the same time because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, of
Are you ready,
course.
Mike, to put that on page 1? There we go. Okay. Monday. I've heard that athletes are born with special genes that make them good at sports. Well, whatever those genes are, I guess I was born without them. Mom's always saying that everyone who's part of a team has an important role to play. But when it comes to sports, it seems like my job is to make everybody else look good. Greg gets whacked with a volleyball in the face. At this point in my life, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to grow up to become a professional athlete. So I'm officially announcing my retirement. The crazy thing is, I used to actually like sports, but that was back in preschool when sports were still fun. I didn't know the first sport I ever played was soccer. I didn't know the rules, but neither did any of the other kids. So most of the time, it was just pure chaos on the field. And can we turn the page, Mike? We're still on page 1 there on my screen. There we go. So there are a bunch of kids running around really chaotically. I'm sure you guys remember what it's like to be on the soccer field as a preschooler. Wherever the ball went, we all chased after it. Every once in a while, the ball would pop out of the pack and go in someone's goal. Then everyone would celebrate. There's a bunch of kids just celebrating like crazy. They don't care who scored the goal. Nobody kept score, so you never knew who was winning or losing. And the parents didn't care because they were too busy doing their own thing. So the parents are all chilling out. They're having a drink. They're listening to music on the radio. That's how it was with me and my kids. The referees were middle school kids, and they didn't really pay attention to the game either. So the refs are on their phones. And let's turn the page. In fact, the refs didn't even blow their whistles when the ball went out of bounds. So half the time we'd be playing on the wrong field and didn't know it. Can we get that page turned? Because we want to see Greg and his friends playing on the wrong field. They're actually playing on the baseball field. All right, looks like it's not turning for me. Okay, so there we go. There's the image. After the game, we'd always get slushies and junk food at the snack shack. And sometimes we wouldn't even wait for the game to be over to treat ourselves. So there's a kid actually having snacks on the field while the game is going on. The coaches were really nice and made sure everyone got a chance to score. And that made everyone feel good about themselves. So here's Greg being held up by his coach, and his coach is actually letting him kick the ball into an empty net. Back then, I was sure I was going to grow up to be a professional soccer player. I even kept my rookie card in mint condition in case it turned out to be worth something one day. So here's Greg's card. Okay, we're turning the page. But when we got to kindergarten, everything changed. The refs started using their whistles, and they didn't let us do the kinds of things we got away with the year before. So here, Greg is actually running like the ball is a football or a rugby ball and tackling the kid in front of him. That season, the refs blew their whistles almost every time I touched the ball. So when I was in the game, I'd stand in the corner of the field and pray the ball didn't roll to me. Okay, everybody's been there where when you played a sport that you didn't know the rules for. It's not like I was getting a lot of playing time in kindergarten anyway. The coach only put in the kids who were good, and the rest of us sat on the bench. Mom told me the reason the coach wasn't playing me was because I was his secret weapon, and he was saving me for a big moment. So there's Greg, his mom, not really telling the truth to Greg. But I didn't understand that Mom was just trying to make me feel better about myself. So whenever the coach did put me in the game, I'd go out there thinking I was hot stuff. So here is Greg thinking he is the secret weapon. Let's turn the page. Even the snack shack wasn't fun that year. Some parents complained they were selling too much junk food, so that they replaced the slushies and other sugary treats with healthy options. So they've got granola, blueberries, avocados, bananas. This is exactly what my wife would have done. But the slushie sales from the snack shack paid for the field upkeep. So that year, the parks department could only afford to mow the grass once every 3 weeks, which really slowed the games down. Kids are playing in high grass. After a bunch of kids got ticks from playing soccer in the long grass, they decided to end the season early, which was totally fine with me. And Greg is having a tick pulled out of his rear end, unfortunately. I feel bad that I've never been good at sports because I think Dad was hoping I'd be a star athlete. Whenever he'd go to the library, he'd always come back with a stack of sports books. Let's turn the page. I'm sure there are kids who are into those types of stories, but that was never me. So here's a book called The Winner and another book called A Kid Named Champ. If you go to the library, you'll find all sorts of books about kids who do amazing things and lead their teams to victory. But I never had any experiences like that, and I'll bet there are lots of kids out there just like me. So one of these days, somebody should write a book for the rest of us, which is exactly what I've tried to do here. It's not like I've got anything against sports. I like them just fine as long as I'm not the one playing. In fact, this summer, I watched the Olympics on TV pretty much nonstop, and I'll bet a lot of kids at home did too. It was Mom's idea for us to watch the games as a family. She says that these days, everyone's in their own little bubbles, and sports is one of the only things that can still bring people together. But I think a little togetherness goes a long way. So everybody's got up these cards where they are rating the dive of a diver on TV. Mom says she loves the Olympics because they show what human beings are capable of at their best. But I like watching for the bloopers. So here is a pole vaulter snapping his stick. And I think that actually happened this year. I'm just glad it's somebody else out there, not me, because I'm sure I'd be nervous if I knew there were millions of people watching from home. And when you mess up in the Olympics, you're supposed to act graceful about it. But if I just spent 4 years of my life training and then made some dumb mistake, I'm pretty sure I'd have trouble smiling for the cameras. So here's Greg actually cartoon cursing on camera because he just messed up in the javelin toss. That's why I do one of those sports where you're part of a team, because then when you screw up, it's harder for people to tell. And Greg says, mind if I squeeze in with you fellows? It's a 4-man bobsled event, and he's going to become the 5th. In fact, if I was in the Olympics, I'd be in one of those events where a horse was involved, because then if something goes wrong, at least you'd have someone to blame. So Greg's saying on camera, things were going great until Thunderbolt here screwed up. But now that I think about it, that's probably the reason why horses sometimes act out. So Greg is getting kicked by his horse for being a jerk. Even though we watched a lot of Olympics coverage, I still don't understand the way everything works. For one thing, I don't see why they only hand out medals to the athletes who take the top 3 spots in a competition. It seems to me like they could keep going with the medals so everyone goes home with a prize. So here's Greg getting his aluminum medal as 15th place. And he's biting it because that's something that Olympians do, is they bite the medal, I think, to show that it's like authentic gold. The way it is right now, they give you a gold medal if you take first place, silver if you take second, and bronze if you take third. But I feel like there's a pretty big step down between silver and bronze. All right, we're turning the page. At least gold and silver are worth something. But if you want a bronze medal, you'd be lucky to get a few bucks for it. So here's Greg actually trying to sell his bronze medal. I figure the moment your medal is the most valuable is right after you win it. So if I got one, I try to take advantage of the TV audience and find a buyer. So here's Greg saying, this dazzling medal can be yours to own. Serious offers only. So Greg just won his medal in swimming. During the medal ceremony, they have the top 3 athletes stand on a podium, and then they play the gold medalist national anthem and make the other 2 athletes stand there and listen. But if I took silver or bronze, I'd pop in some earbuds so I could jam to my own tunes. And here's Greg actually dancing to his own music. One of Mom's favorite things about the Olympics is when they tell the life stories of the athletes who are competing. Some of the stories are really inspiring because a lot of these athletes had to overcome tough challenges to get to where they are. Let's turn the page. But if I ever made it to the Olympics, my story wouldn't be all that inspirational. So this says, Greg Heffley, parents made him play sports, and he is going off the ski jump, and his skis have fallen off his feet. Mom keeps telling me that one day I could be an Olympian, and I should start my Olympic journey now. But I'm pretty sure it's already too late for me. For most sports, you have to start playing really young if you want to be any good. So even if I got serious, I'm sure I'd be competing with kids who are half my age. So here's Greg playing tennis against a bunch of preschoolers. I've heard that in some countries, they identify kids with potential super early, and then they send them off to these elite academies to train around the clock. So here are some evaluators watching some literal babies who seem to be good at sports. I really don't think there's any hope for me of becoming an Olympian. But my brother Manny is only in preschool, so maybe he's still got a shot. All right, let's turn that page. I'm not an expert on this stuff or anything, but from what I've seen, the kid looks like he's got potential. All right, we should be seeing the next page right now where Manny is actually pole vaulting with a broom. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if Mom and Dad shipped Manny off to one of those sports academies, because that would be one less person I'd have to share a bathroom with. So here's Manny literally getting shipped off in a bus. But maybe there are some sports that you can start when you're a little older, and there's still hope for a person like me, because it would be pretty cool to represent your country as an Olympian, no matter what sport you compete in. So here is Greg with the ribbons, right? He would like to do ribbons. And if I won a gold medal, you can bet I'd never take it off. So here is Greg showing off his gold medal as a swimmer in a very inappropriate setting. When you win a gold medal, you're set for life. And even when your Olympic career is over, you can still make a fortune doing appearances and signing stuff. So here's Greg. He looks like he's a little out of shape now. He's wearing his medal and he's signing stuff for people. But the real money's in advertising products on TV. and I'd say yes to everything as long as the money was good. So Greg's got some deodorant, and he says, no chalky residue. He doesn't mind. He's making his money. The best thing about being an athlete is that you can retire young. And that would be great for a person like me, because there are lots of places I'd like to visit and things I'd like to see. So Greg is basically a retiree now. He's with some older folks visiting the pyramids in Egypt. So I'm not going to give up on sports just yet, because who knows? Maybe I could be a person everyone looks up to. So here's Greg at the top of a high dive, making his first ever dive on national TV. And that is the end of my read aloud from Diary of Wimpy Kid, Big Shot. Mike, I hope you liked that, and I hope everybody who is tuned in liked it as well.
I love it, Jeff. I actually read the book last weekend, and I love how you're able to like really. You brought me back to middle school. Like I was laughing throughout the book, and I love the ending. So yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what did you think, everybody? We have over 5,500 classrooms tuning in. So 100,000 kids. What did you guys all think? What did you think of the new book here? I think there's some internet delays. That's why the pages weren't turning so quickly.
Right.
Uh,
No worries.
But all right. So I think for the next segment of our read aloud, we're going to get to do a little drawing activity with you.
Okay, great. I can't
There
wait.
is a classroom that we wanted to add in.
Right. I've got my easel all situated.
See if I can find them.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah. All right. I'm going to expand your video.
Okay, great.
If we end up finding them, we can add them in. Otherwise, we can just start here and everyone can follow along.
Okay. And what would you like me to draw, Mike?
I was told you might draw blindfolded.
Blindfolded?
Yeah, a little true test of your illustrative talents.
All right. Well, let me try.
We'll start regular.
I'm going to draw Manny. He is the preschooler that Greg's talking about, the one that pole vaulted. I see I'm drawing a little too small here, so I'll draw a little bit bigger. All right, hold on. I'll get out my bigger marker too. Okay, so let's start with Manny. I'm going to draw. I always start with the eyes on my characters, right? So here are Manny's two eyes. And then Manny has like a really long nose. It's almost like an alligator's snout or something, you know? He's got a really long nose that goes way out there. Okay? Next, he's got a really long mouth that actually goes past his eyes. You can see it goes just a little bit past his eyes. And then I've got one tooth and two teeth here, right? And then, like I said, he looks a lot like an alligator, doesn't he, Mike? Okay.
Yes.
And then Manny has a skinny neck. And he's got an ear that doesn't really look like his brother Greg's ear. And then the only thing he has that looks just like Greg's on his face is his head. The top of his head, he's got these 3 strands of hair. And that is how you know that Manny is Greg Heffley's brother. Now, you gave me a challenge to actually do this blindfolded, okay? So I'm going to take off my glasses. I'm pretty much blind right now, but I'm sure you don't exactly trust me. So let's see. Here we go. Here's the page. Okay, I need to remember where that is. I am going to have you coach me through this, okay, Mike? So what should I start with?
Let's start with the eyes.
The eyes, just like before.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one eye, and there are 2 eyes. How am I doing so far?
Honestly, that was pretty spot on.
All right, great. Okay, so now the nose.
Yeah, we can bring the nose out.
I'm going to be really precise here. Here we go.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Is it? It's good so far? Okay,
yeah.
Here we go. Now the hard part, the mouth. And it feels like it's right about there. And then the teeth. I forgot that. We can't do this without the teeth. Aren't you impressed that I can do this blindfolded?
Yeah, although Manny wouldn't be so happy about what's going on right now.
Okay, that's not good. Okay, I know I have to draw the head. Maybe that will bring it all together.
Yeah,
And
and the hair. Just get the hair right and we're all good.
3 hairs, I did it. You know, that's not so bad. So maybe
No,
that's
it's not.
I can do it.
It was awesome.
All right. I hope everybody who was drawing along in their classrooms did a better job than I did. I better not. You know what I'm going to do, Mike? I'm going to say this one. I'll put my own signature.
Nice.
Jeff Kinney. That's my signature. And then this one, just so everybody has it on their screenshots, I'm going to say that you did this one.
Yeah. Blame it on Storyvoice. Yeah, it's perfect.
Right.
And we figured out what's been going on here, Jeff, and it's
Yeah.
actually a good problem in some ways. There were so many hearts being sent that it almost crashed the app. So
Okay.
that's how much love there is for you out there in the world.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. I think for the rest of the time we have, because I know we kind of got a late start, I want to give our audience a chance to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
And we actually have a couple classrooms. Hopefully, we can add in now that we can say hello to. So, first, Wandiza in the Bronx, I'm adding you in. You should be getting an invitation to join Jeff and I. And hopefully, we can add you in too.
I see it. Wandiza 5th graders. That's exciting.
Just got to get the video to show. She might have been working with Ahmad too in the background.
Okay.
All right, one sec. Let me see if they were together.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's frozen. Hey, Wandiza, can you hear us?
Us?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear us? Can you hear
Yes.
us?
Yeah. There's just a bit of a delay, I
Hi,
think.
we're so excited.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much.
Say hi, 5th grade. Hi, Jeff.
Nice to meet you. I understand you have a question.
Yep.
Okay, who's going to ask the question? Angelina, go first. All right, we have a question from Angelina.
Why did you want to be an author?
Great question. Why did I want to be an author? I really just wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to get my cartoons published, and at first nobody liked my work. So I had to figure out a different way to get my cartoons published, and I did that by becoming an author.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Rahel, we have Rahel.
What inspired you to write Diary of the Wimpy Kid?
My own real life stories inspired me to write Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And so when I was a kid, I had a normal life, an average life, but lots of funny things happened to me. And so I wrote them down and turned them into a book. And I just want to encourage you and everybody else who's watching today to write down the funny things that happened to you, the sad things, the scary thing, everything, because people will want to hear your stories one day.
About the writing, Anaya.
All right, so
Awesome.
my question is, what's next for you?
What's next for you, Jeff?
Great. Well, next is lunch. But if you're talking about my career, we're doing Disney movies, and I'm writing another book, a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, and hopefully another Rowley book. So I really like this world, this Wimpy Kid world. It's so cool. It's such a privilege to be able to write and to have it reach kids like you. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Mercedes.
What keeps you motivated to write?
What keeps you motivated to write?
Well, honestly, it's you. It's people who are growing up reading my books. I feel very inspired. I want to do my best. I want to be as funny as I can because I know that I'm in a really great position where if I write a book, it's going to get out there all over the world. So I feel really motivated to do my best.
That's awesome. Do we have any?
Yeah. Why does Greg only have 3 little hairs on his head?
I think it's really important for a cartoon character to look iconic, right? That means like that you recognize them if you see them, if you only see just a few lines. So if you think about Greg, if you see those 3 sprigs of hair that branch off in 3 different directions, that's all you need to see to know that that's Greg Heffley. And so if you see Rowley with those big teeth, you know it's Rowley. So I really just wanted to make a character that stood out from the other characters and that you know that that's the main character of the story.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Wandiza's 5th graders from the Bronx. Awesome questions.
Thank you, Wandiza.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Now we're going to bring in one more class. We're going to go to my home state of New Jersey that also has some questions for you.
Cool.
All right, Joe, I just sent an invite your way. There we go.
Here we go.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Sands class?
Let's do a quick spin around so we can see everyone. Everybody wave, say hello.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so awesome to meet you. We have a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ben.
Let's see here. So like, what was your inspiration to write Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Was it like something that you went through, or did you just like think of it?
Yeah, I just wanted to write about my own life. I thought a lot of funny things happened to me, and I thought if I put them all into one place, I could make a good book out of it. And so I actually wrote a 1,300-page first draft that had like every funny thing that happened to me in my life was in that first draft. And so now I split that up into books, and now I have to use my imagination instead of my memories. Great question.
What was your favorite Diary of a Wimpy Kid book to write?
My favorite one to write was the first one because I wasn't under any big deadline or anything like that. But I really enjoyed writing this last one, Big Shot, because it really flowed. And sometimes it's really hard for me to write as a writer. It's hard for me to, churn out the words. But this one, it seemed to kind of flow a little bit better than the other books.
So like the names at the beginning of the book where it says like 2 and then like a name, are those like people you actually know or just random names?
Well, I know the 2 kids at the beginning of my new book very well, Will and Grant. They're my boys, 16 years old and 19 years old, and they played basketball all through their growing up years. And so I wanted to dedicate this book to them.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome questions. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Sands class.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go.
All right. And there's one more class, actually the one that was going to draw with you.
Okay.
They just tuned in here, so I'm going to add them in so they still get to say hello.
Okay.
And I'm sure they have a question they can ask. And maybe they even attempted to draw too, and they could show it to us.
Okay.
So, Emily, I just sent you an invite. Hi, Emily. Hi, Miss Montjoy's class.
Hi.
What's up?
We made it.
No, nice. Hey, it's not too late to draw. I can teach you how to draw Greg Heffley if you like.
Y'all want to try to draw a couple of things?
Yeah,
Can I try to draw a couple of things? This is Juliana and Jameson. We had a draw off, and these 2 were our class winners. Let me grab their papers.
Awesome. Yeah, let me see what you got. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really good.
And no tracing. This was all freehand.
Oh, wow.
Nice. I'd really like to know what Greg is looking at there. That's really funny. That's cool.
All right.
All right. Mike, do we have a second where I could show them
Of
how
course.
to draw Greg Heffley? All right. What we're going to do is we're going to speed draw Greg Heffley. Are you guys ready? You can both draw him on one half of your whiteboard. And try and make sure that the camera can see. Yes. Okay. We're going to start with the eyes, just like Manny. Right? 2 eyes. I think I'm making my Greg too small. And then the nose comes right out from under that one eye, right? Okay, good job. And now the hardest part, the head, right? His head is almost a perfect circle. That's where it can get a little funky, right? Because maybe you end up making an egg or something that doesn't look exactly like a circle. Those are looking good. And we have 3 strands of hair, just like we just talked about with the class at Wandiza. 3 strands of hair. The ear comes out from the side of his head. And now you can choose to make Greg happy or sad. I'm going to make him happy today because we're scholastic, which is really awesome. And there's my smile, right? Now Greg's body is sort of shaped like a banana, right? He's a little bit curved, okay? You can see that his body kind of goes inwards down to his waist. And then I'm going to draw the bottom of his shirt. And after I do that, I'm going to actually draw his arm. So let's take a look at how I do it. I'm going to draw his sleeve, right? And then his arms kind of curve inwards too as they fall by his side. He's got these kind of noodle arms. Now, something you've probably noticed with Greg Heffley, he doesn't have 5 fingers, he has 4, right? Because in cartooning, you're really trying to use simplification as your tool. So I am only going to draw with 4 fingers here, right? So Greg's got 4 fingers. Excellent, excellent. Now, I didn't finish his shirt up here, so I'm going to do that, right? And now what you need to do is you need to curve his body back outward. So his leg bends outwards, right? I can't believe what a good job you guys are doing. It's amazing. Okay, so here are Greg's shorts, first of all. All right, he's got some shorts. And now his knees, his legs kind of bend a little bit outwards. It's sort of gentle, right? And they both kind of tilt exactly the same way. What's funny about Greg being shaped like a banana is that in Brazil, in the Portuguese language, they actually call it Diário de Banana, which is diary of a banana. Okay, we've got his legs almost. We're almost caught up. And the last thing we need to do is put on some big cartoon shoes. If we make them big and puffy, it makes it look like he can balance on them. That's what we want to do. And what I also usually do is I usually put some grass on the ground to show that Greg is not just floating in space, but standing on something. And then the last thing I wanted to challenge you to do is that to come up with a fancy signature, right? When I decided I wanted to be an author, I decided to come up with a cool signature. And my kids looked at it and said, "What is that? That's not even writing." And I said, "That's my signature." So here is my signature. This says Jeff Kinney somehow. So I need you to do something fancy. It doesn't matter if it makes any sense at all. Just something fancy.
Nice.
Oh, I like that. That's excellent. There we go. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. That's cool. So that's my Greg Heffley. Yours are excellent as well. And thank you very much for drawing along. I'm so glad we were able to connect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Miss Monjoy's class. Awesome job. All right, so we got to connect with our 3 guest classrooms. And Jeff, I was told on this tour you also attempted some big shots of your own. I think we have some GIFs of them, but I'm curious to see how loyal these fans are, if they believe you can make this big shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a prompt out to our audience. And I'm going to ask you, do you think Jeff was able to make this shot?
I can't remember myself, actually.
This was also in Montclair, my hometown. I see the M sign in the background.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the audience thinks. There's a prompt that's going to appear on your screens where you can just simply reply yes or no. We'll wait a couple of seconds. I think to give the audience some help in determining their answer, were there any practice shots, Jeff, before this one?
I think this was the practice shot. So I'm
Okay.
trying to see, could I have made that shot? It looks like my form needs a lot of work, I have to say. That's some pretty weak sauce right there.
I like the left kick out right there at the end.
That's really sad.
That's the signature.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm seeing some of the results, and honestly, more than 65% are saying, yeah, he totally made the shot. So
Hey.
let's see what the
Yeah,
actual result was here. Oh, no.
Air ball.
This one looks like an air ball.
It looked pretty good to me. It looked like it was going in. That's pretty sad.
It
All
had
right,
the
well,
distance. But
yeah.
here at Storyvoice, we believe in second chances. And I know that there was another attempt that was backwards.
Oh gosh, backwards. All
Greg
right.
Heffley style.
This was my one and only backwards attempt, I have to say.
So I'm going to ask
excited
the
to know.
audience what they think now about this one. Now that they've seen, the first one didn't really go in. What about this shot?
I only took 2 shots that day. One was forwards and one was backwards. So did I really make my only backwards shot? That's the big question.
All right, I'm seeing some responses. It looks like we lost some believers. A lot more no's this time around. Okay, we're at 40% yes this time.
All
so
right, let's
that's
see what
pretty good. So let's see what happened. And
And
it's in.
made it.
You
on my
made this
first
one.
shot.
Made the big shot.
Did I? Yeah, I went off the backboard and made it into that hoop. So that is, you got to be a little bit impressed by that. That's
a bank
all right.
shot. Perfect. Well, Jeff, I know we had some hiccups in the beginning, but we really had an awesome time getting to hear you read and draw and show off your big shot skills. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. We know you have so much going on with the new movie and everything else, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I wanted to say thanks to all those classes who hung in there in the 15 minutes while we were trying to figure this out. But, technology's like that sometimes. But, Mike, thanks for being graceful and being a great host. This was really fun. I'd love to do it again. And I hope everybody can go about the rest of their day and have a great day. Take care.
Awesome. Well, I would say let's send some hearts, but we will break the app again. So let's just all give a big wave and goodbye to our very best story friend, Jeff Kinney. Thanks so much, Jeff. Have a great lunch.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
See
Bye-bye.
you. All right, story friends. Well, that concludes our live read aloud. We hope you enjoyed getting to meet our special guest author and a sneak peek of Big Shot. Just so you can save the dates, we'll have another author read aloud next Friday. And then in February, we will be back after a little winter hiatus for World Read Aloud Day, where we will have 10 back-to-back live author events for classrooms around the world. So save the date. Well, that concludes our session. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in and being a part of the Storyvoice experience and for being patient as we got everything going. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day, and may the stories be with you. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.